In Minecraft Beta 1.2, Mojang re-added colored wool back into the game. However, brown wool was unobtainable in survival because the cocoa beans that you need to dye the wool to make brown wool, they weren't available in survival. It was only in Beta 1.4 that they were added to dungeon chests as potential loot, and before that there was actual no way of finding cocoa beans in survival. However, we can still obtain brown wool in Beta 1.2 and 1.3 by making use of a glitch called block transmutation. So, block transmutation machines can change the data values of blocks in your world, for example, for making these half slabs, or double slabs, I should say, that you can't normally get in survival. However, most block transmutation machines require pistons, which weren't in the game in Beta 1.2 and 1.3. That's when Reddit user Deadly Dirt Block notified me that there was a glitch that you could do in Infdev that allowed you to do block transmutation in any way that you wanted. You could get any of the data values that you wanted. And this was in the game between these two versions of Infdev. And luckily for us, that last version of Infdev here was also the first version of Infdev to use the alpha level format that was used in the game between, well, this version and up until beta 1.2. So in beta 1.2 exactly, we can actually use this to obtain brown wool in survival in a sort of legitimate way. I don't consider this exactly cheating, although it definitely is an exploit and wasn't particularly intended, but I don't think it gives you an unfair advantage considering that this block was not obtainable in survival by regular means. So today I'm going to show you how to do this in your beta 1.2 world. The first thing that you want to do is find somewhere in your world that you have not touched because we're going to be overriding these chunks. And you want to come out to this area with flint and steel and wool. These are the two main things that you need. And I recommend maybe getting more than one flint and steel. Next, you want to find a version of Infdev that isn't going to crash when you then try to load a world that you created in that version in Infdev March 27th edition, right? For me, I tried around and I found that the June 30th version was pretty good, and I chose this also because it matched the terrain generation that was in the world that you saw before, which was in Alpha 1.0.17. Next, find where the world that you just created is stored. I'm using Betacraft here to get this specific Infdev version, so I go to this directory, and everything in World 1 I just delete. I make it an empty directory. Next, I'm going to go to my beta world from before, and I'm going to copy the level.dat and the session lock, as well as the level.dat underscore old, to the new empty world1 directory from my infdev. I'm going to then load the world back into infdev, and you're going to see that I basically generate the same thing as what you saw before, with the same seed and everything, but obviously my structures are gone. Also, my inventory was kept, as you can see. Now we're going to downgrade our version of Infdev from the June 30th version to the March 27th, and this is the one with a specific glitch. And for some weird reason, these two versions use different saving formats. So previously I said that my world was in the Betacraft directory because that was the launcher that I was using. But for this Infdev version, it actually was using my regular .minecraft directory that you find in the app data and roaming directory. So as you can see here, these worlds were from before. I'm just deleting them because I don't need them. And then I'm going to my .betacraft directory where I have the infdev instance, and I'm copying over that world over to the appdata.minecraft save directory. And now that that's copied, you'll see that that world now shows up in my infdev March 27th version. And I'm going to load that world, and you will see that well, actually, not a lot has changed, to be honest, but what's important is that now we can actually perform the glitch, which only works in this version. Okay, so there's a lot of text on screen. What you want to do is light some piece of grass or anything with a flint and steel on fire and let it die out. And then you want to do it again and do it for a total of 8 times. Okay, so that's here, I'm just counting out this 8 times, and then I'm going to do this for however many blocks that I want. Do keep in mind this is going to use up your flint and steel quite a lot, so make sure they keep prepared, and you're not going to be able to get a bunch of wool if you only brought like one flint and steel. You can read here the text that I wrote out for the explanation for why this glitch works, or I guess why we're doing the thing that we're doing. But anyways, after you've lit the fire 8 times in each block that you're interested in, you're going to then place the wool that you had from before in these same spots. Now, this part is optional. What I'm doing here is opening MCEdit and opening up the world that you just saw. And here I just created a backup of it. That's why it says World 2 rather than World 1. And the reason for this is because I want to find the chunks where I was placing these blocks. And so I'm here just using MCEdit. I select the region that I'm interested in. I go to version control, and then you can see it selects the 2 chunks that contain the wool. Then I click prune, which what it does is it just deletes every chunk outside of this selection here. We're not actually going to be like editing anything necessarily. We're just using this to find the chunks that we're interested in. And so you could actually skip this whole MCEdit thing if you can figure out which chunks they are using the Minecraft Wiki article that I show in the background. So here I'm searching my world directory for .dat files, and the only 2 files that aren't the level.dat file that are going to come up are going to be the chunk files that we are interested in. And so there's 2 that come up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where they're stored in my Infdev world, and then I'm going to copy those files to the same respective directory in my beta world. And so as you can see, I'm checking here, it's X and then 1C. And so then I go to X and then 1C, and then I'm copying over. And also the name of the file should be the same for both. And so we're replacing these chunks in my beta world with my Infdev world. And now you're going to go back into your beta world, beta 1.2, and you're going to see that the wool that you had before has magically become brown wool. And you can pick it up, and it's just like regular wool. There's nothing that might crash your game, at least in my experience. Do keep in mind that because we didn't also update or move the level.dat file, which stores your inventory, you're going to still have the same wool that you had from before, as well as flint and steel, and so it might be in your interest to get rid of it. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe for more Minecraft videos.